Alright, let's get started. I know everyone's got places to be and more things to do, so without further ado, this is Speaker Bob Lambert. Thanks for joining us today from out of Lunch and Learn.
Big round of applause. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. I have another show at 4. Thank you. I'm a proud member of Modest Suites. I've been for almost a decade, so we've been hanging out here with you guys and doing our thing, and I'm thrilled. I pitch this place all the time, let people know what a great group it is, and it's grown immensely since I first was here. You can imagine that. There you go. And of course, the facilities are terrific. I run a training company called Samurai Business Group, and we train a high-end mastery level sales and sales management program, mainly for folks that do B2B business. It's not for the faint of heart. I kind of euphemistically call it the SEAL Team 6 of sales training. And so the distinction is that most of our clients within 12 to 18 months double their trust with a top line revenue. A lot of heavy lifting. This program goes for individuals. I train right in this room every other Monday from 8:30 to 11. It's a year-long program. People sign up and they can do it by the month, or most people, 90%, 98%, when they come in, they stay for the whole rotation. Because obviously they want to get the value and also lift up their business. We're very distinct about that. We've been associated with DePaul University for over a decade, and we are only one of 3 training programs that they allowed into their Center for Sales Leadership. Probably are the number 1 because they actually took us and built a case around our material for semester long case on our buying decision model. So we teach coaching and training people how people buy, not how you sell them. Nobody wants to be sold. So that's a bit of a distinction and uniqueness, and what you're going to see today is not about sales, it's really about trust, but that's at the heart of all sales, right? Every one of you are business professionals, you're in the business of building trust, whether, I'm assuming you're an attorney, right? I am. Yeah, an attorney, he's an attorney. I don't know, what do you do? Entrepreneur. Entrepreneur, what?
Financial technology company.
Okay, great. Advertising.
Programmer.
Programmer, okay. So at some point in time, either whether
Gotta sell something.
Professionally or personally, it's about trust, right? So that's what how many people have seen a presentation on trust before? Anybody? That's not unusual. Most of my
I can lie to you and tell you yes.
That's not about trust.
That's not about trust then, you know? You're lying to me. So I've been doing these presentations for a number of years, and there's some borrowed brilliance in here. I won't take credit for it. I give attribution to Stephen Covey Jr., which is Stephen Covey's son, did a book back, and you'll see the back reference in here about that. And so part of it was a study I started to launch into, the study of doing this and writing about it myself, writing a book, because at the center of everything I did in my university in marketing and sales was really about trust and brand trust and all the rest of that stuff. And so I started into it. About a year into my venture, he broke with his book called The Speed of Trust. It's a game over. Guy's got more money than me, access to a whole lot of people, and frankly, I believe it is a seminal piece of work on trust. Everything else before this was clinical. There's some stuff that of my own in here, but I would just want to kind of give that ahead of time. So let's get this party going here. Do I have to do to advance it? Don't tell me I got to do this. No?
There we go. Yeah.
So what we're talking about today, what is trust? Kind of the definition of it. A lot of people say, well, it's kind of visceral. How do you really describe trust? It's a feeling. It's something that I know when I see it. Also, the current state of trust. I'm going to give you some statistical information as to how people rate this or look at it or even have any kind of thoughts about it. You may or may not have seen some of this stuff. And then we're going to do a little thing from Pearls of Wisdom from Captain Jack. Everybody know who that is? And Pirates of the Caribbean. We're going to ask you some things specific. Do you have those sheets that I asked you to copy?
Yeah, I'll get them.
And you're going to have to work during this session. We're not going to let you just skate and sit here and let me blather around. At any time you got questions, please interrupt. Be happy to answer questions. Okay. How do you trust? That's going to be pretty thought-provoking. What is it, that you go through? The 4 cores of trust in relationships. Okay. Then 13 behaviors that we've identified out of that of building trust. And then we're going to demonstrate trustworthiness as a little exercise in the back. Okay. So don't tell me I got to keep doing this. Let's see if this is going up. All right. We had to jerry-rig this up because we're, I think, doing this live today across the world. Here's a definition that we have put together. Basically, comes from Neil Fitzgerald, the former chairman of Lever Brothers, or Unilever. And that basically is the firm reliance on integrity, ability, or character of a person or thing. Now, what would be a thing that you have to have integrity around?
A bridge.
A bridge, okay. What else? Got to have trust about that, right? Okay. What else you could think of that we all consume or do work with? Products, yeah, right, exactly. Products. Brands, right? Isn't it all about trust with a brand and the positioning of a brand? Your practice, whatever business you're in, okay? It's a thing, right? It's an entity, it's not a person. But you represent your companies, generally speaking, so it is also about you. Your personal integrity, people are going to trust you, what they think of you, and all that kind of stuff. So, you're killing me here. Can we advance this thing with that? I have to click on each one of these? I got to do that? Okay. Here's some facts and some statistical information. Sometimes a little bit shocking. Actually, these probably figures right here, if they were updated, a little bit worse than what they are up here. Would you agree? And I think what's profound is the British researcher David Halpern, only 34% of Americans believe that other people can be trusted. I don't know about you guys, but that's quite an indictment when you think about it, right? A lot of skepticism when you say, especially since 08, downturn in the economy. We've seen malfeasance at all kinds of levels in social tele organizations, faith-based, government, politics, corporations. So what's that done for our trust? You know, when you really start scratching down between the surface here, you know, as human beings, you know, a lot of skepticism. All right. And people only do make decisions with people that they trust or believe will get the job done. Would you agree with that? Who are you going to let work with you? Who are you going to let into your Rolodex? Who are you really going to want to network with? Just anybody? Or is there, they're going to have, we'll have some fun in a minute as to what maybe the degrees of trust are, and what you guys think about when you go through this. Edelman here in Chicago does a trust barometer. They've been doing this for over a decade. Are you familiar with that? I don't know if you know of Edelman. And basically, good news for folks in here, which I talked to with a lot of small, medium-sized businesses. That's what SMB. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you guys, there is a bounty today for any misspellings that you find in here, okay? That allows you to pay attention. I'm sorry?
Character was misspelled.
What is?
Character was.
Character?
Couple slides.
Yeah, it was sharp.
Okay, so you won one.
I was wondering what that was.
Anybody else?
I was like, I don't know.
I forgot to say that one ahead of time, but you know, I figured, you know, I'd give away some goodies here today. And I learned that lesson a long time ago. Talking about trust. I had a big client presentation. I used to run a marketing agency here in Chicago, and had a big client presentation back in the day before all the electronics and everything. We had to proofread. We actually had to read something forward and backward to make sure, particularly with the type of brains that we were entrusted with. And so we had this nailed down, and I got all my goodies with me, and I'm out there in front of a room like this of all the executives of the firm, and particularly marketing people back then were really, I mean, if you had a scum dot on a print thing, you don't even know what scum dot is, but if you had a scum dot on a print run, I mean, oh my God, the world was going to end. So basically, misspellings of anything, particularly when you're doing marketing, that was a big deal, right? So all of a sudden, to my horror, we thought we had this thing nailed. The director of marketing pointed out that I had a misspelling in there, in the material. So, without missing a beat, I took a step back and I said, congratulations. I pulled out a $20 bill and said, you just won because you've been paying attention. I just wanted to see if there was, you know, if you caught that or not. Ever since then, on all my presentations, I have misspelled. Because that way I figure if I'm going to pay a bounty for it, you're going to pay attention. Just a little idea. So privately held business, good news here on this whole thing was trusted, and they have a trust advantage. So small, medium-sized companies and privately held hold the advantage. Okay? That's you guys. Why would that be? Why do you think that would be?
I would think that people think you're going to do a better job because every dollar counts.
Okay.
If you're IBM, losing 1 to 500 customers doesn't make any difference.
Okay. Good point. Anybody else?
I think more of a direct relationship with somebody there. You call some big company, you're just going to go through the bureaucracy. You're getting someone different every time. You don't even know. There's no face behind the product, whereas smaller companies, private companies, you might be dealing with the owner directly or
Sure.
CEO directly or whoever.
Right, exactly. Oftentimes that is who you deal with, right? Because they got their finger in the pulse. And they also a little bit fleeter of foot, right? So they do things or reaction time maybe be quicker and more personal to do that. So again, it doesn't make, no surprises here, right? You would expect that that would be the case. So what do we got next here? Okay, I don't know, but we'll click on it. Oh, the video's not, okay. Well, the sound isn't playing. I have it listed down below here. So
Dishonest. And a dishonest man you can always trust to be dishonest.
Goodness, sorry about that.
It's the honest ones you want to watch out for. Because you can never predict they're going to do something incredibly stupid.
I think Kevin Jack sums it up, with honest people and trust and all that kind of stuff. I forgot to cue you in. Technically. Okay, so told you it's going to be a participant sport, right? So I'm going to ask you a couple questions. So this is participation. That is, what is the criteria you use to trust? You personally.
I think one of them would be, are you talking with someone new?
Anything. Any
It
criteria.
would be how I met this person.
Okay.
Was I introduced to this person from someone that I trust?
Okay, great.
That would be probably one of them.
Okay, who else?
The quality of the communication.
Quality of the communication? All right.
First impression, conversation, just basic,
Okay. Anybody else?
Just the history you have with that individual. If they've been trustworthy in the past,
Okay.
proven before, then you assume they're going to continue to do so.
Okay. Who else?
Relatedly show me, demonstrate that you can be trusted, and so I might trust you in some small way initially.
So you're from Missouri, right? Experience. Okay, so if it's a business thing, you're kind of checking the credentials out and that kind of thing, and what other people have to say for them. In today's marketplace, is that a thing? Go ahead.
I was going to say body language, voice inflection.
Okay, great. Look in the eye contact, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Gee, how do you do that when you're down doing all this all day long, right? I was telling Chris earlier, we really lost some of that. Through DePaul and some other studies that we do, we're working a lot with millennials now, and I have never seen such low empathy scores in my career with the millennials. Because how are you going to have empathy for an inanimate object? And we're losing a bit of that. And it's starting to circle back around, this human to human. Maybe you've been hearing more about that, human to human, people to people. It's trying to come back around that way because, again, I'm running into it in the curriculum because there's people now that are on the older edge of the scale, 50s and 60s, and they're saying, Bob, all these younger people now, they don't want to meet me. They don't want to see me anymore. And that's how I did business, is a handshake and trust, look them in the eye. And they don't even meet me anymore. What do I do now? I said, I don't know if it'll work, but at least you'd be looked at as being way cool. Ask them if you can do a Skype or a FaceTime with them. At least you can have something with what the body language and what's going on there, right? To do because it's kind of a reverse thing happening right now. Okay, let's look at the next one here, and that is no, that's not. What is this? I got to do the left foot. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna let you drive the damn thing.
Sounds good.
Okay. Are there degrees of trust? You guys touched on a little bit of that earlier, how you trust. Are there degrees of trust? So what's that look like? How do you establish a degree of trust? And what kind of things that, to you, all of a sudden, do you instantly trust somebody? So we've heard about experience, how long you've known them, a couple things like that. Would that be kind of how you kind of evaluate, both personal and business? I'm talking everything here in your life.
Absolutely, past behaviors.
Past behaviors?
How
Okay.
and if it's professional, how they handle any work that you give them, engagements you have with them, responsiveness, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. So there are degrees to this thing. Do you think you think through this kind of stuff? Or is this subconscious, do you think? Yeah? Okay.
There's one amount of trust. I mean, if you're in a restaurant, you trust that the waiter's going to bring you lunch, compared to trust or giving a friend the key to your security box at the bank. I mean, it's depending upon the financial value and the amount of the service, there's a huge swing in trust. But I think I mean, you sort of know that inherently. I mean, you just go through life. I don't think you think about that moment to moment.
That's more this human thing, right? It's just a gut feeling. You ever hear that? Women's intuition, gut feeling, guys, right? It's kind of innate in us, right? Are there certain occupations that are more trusted than others?
No. Not anymore. I'm in the 34% category. No. You used to say priests, doctors, no offense to the lawyers. No. I think everyone has to earn trust now.
Okay. Good comment. Okay, go for it. Sorry, I'm making you drive there. Question. Who are you most likely to trust?
Family.
Okay. Who else?
The people we keep in our innermost circle.
And again, that's over time, right? Time is an element in this trust thing, isn't it? Right?
Absolutely.
Time, experience, all those things you guys have been talking about. Who else would you trust? Are you most likely to trust? Doctor that's going to do heart surgery on you? The anesthesiologist?
Hope so.
Think you might want to interview them before you let them cut on you? Get another opinion? Right? Let's triangulate this thing a little bit. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty. Why should people trust you?
Because I do what I say I'm going to do when I say I'm going to do it.
Okay. They're not going to know that until you do that, though, right?
That goes to what somebody was saying about a history, building up a history.
Okay. What else? So there's some demonstration there, right?
I told Chris I was going to be here today at noon.
Okay. You're here. Okay. So.
Chris, do you trust him now?
Of course I trust Joe. Implicit.
Okay. I can do heart surgery on you now.
What else? Why should people trust you?
Experience.
Experience?
If you have, in my case, a portfolio or a reel showing examples of product.
Okay.
Past experience.
How about personally?
How about what?
Personally. Why should somebody trust you?
Personally,
Yeah. In your personal relationships.
I'm a person of good character. In business.
How do you demonstrate character?
Kind of what he said, doing what you say that you're doing and doing the right thing when nobody's looking.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Anything else about why somebody should trust you? This is a big deal, right? And we're talking about now, all you guys are professionals sitting in here, you're trying to get business, you're trying to do things in life. And, what are these demonstrable things that display this outside of, I'm a good guy, I got good character, or I do what I say I'm going to do? Is there any other way that manifests itself?
I think commitment.
Oh.
If you can demonstrate commitment to somebody,
Okay.
I think that will turn into trust.
Are you single?
No, I'm married.
Okay. So you had the big C.
That's not what
You
I'm
got the big
thinking
C
about,
thing then going there, right? Because I have another little exercise I do with guys that
That's
I
not
build
what I
up.
had in mind. I was thinking more from a business perspective.
Okay.
But
We're having fun now, right? What's the last one there, Chris? Okay. Well, we know, Joe, back in the corner, you've done something that's earned somebody's trust, but it's a question down here. What have you done to earn someone's trust? You're saying, hey, I show up on time, like commitment's another thing, right? I do what I say I'm going to do. Those would be outward demonstrations, right, of that, right? Yeah. Is there any other thing that would happen that would demonstrate to somebody that you're a person of trust or integrity outside of what you personally do?
What you don't do.
Better yet, what you don't do, right? But third-party endorsement, all those kind of things, we see these testimonials. Does that impact you guys at all? When you look at that? When you look at Yelp and the rating for some place that you go to, do you trust that? Yeah?
I do.
So? Okay.
If it's independent, like TripAdvisor, Yelp, but if I go to someone's website and they just have a ton of quotes from people, no.
Okay. How about a video? Somebody doing a video testimonial?
seems overkill.
Okay. Anybody else? They say, hey, I did this, and here's the result I got, and these people are great. Does that have any impact on you?
A lot of times I won't necessarily look at one review, but I look at sort of the review as a whole. So if there's a consistency among people saying something, there's a consistency among opinions, then I sort of value that.
Got it.
In a specific.
Right. Because this is new stuff now, right? We're in a whole different era now where we're seeing stuff out there online basically telling us and giving us ratings now, right? And so you got to sit there and say to yourself, how much of this is contrived, how much is real, right? So we're now having to sort through that. And do I trust this? Do I trust, how independent are they? They're giving an independent opinion, right? Okay. What do we got next? Okay, we're going to build out the trust tree. Okay? Alrighty. You can draw this out if you'd like. Now, are we going to offer this? We're going to offer this to everybody? If you want? Sure. If you want. The presentation, I can get it to you guys. As long as you give me attribution for some of the work that's in here, we can give this back to you if you want it on a PowerPoint or actually a PDF, so you can see the slides if you want that. Or take notes, copious notes, because we're going to have a test at the end anyway. So, all right. All right, so here's the 4 cores of trust relationships. So we got a tree here. Got a tree here. At the very base of this tree, we have character. Up in the foliage, we have competence. So at the very base of this, down here, what would be one of the characteristics of character? One of the cores of character.
Honesty.
Okay, what else?
Integrity.
Bingo. Hit that. Integrity. Okay, what else would be down here? What else is for character? One of those cores of character. Temperature seems to be going up here, all this brain power now. So. I didn't know I was going to have to think about something and come to this stupid thing. What would you guess? What would be another element of character?
Generosity, maybe?
Letting you talk here. I'm just finding out how you define this. Get that again, okay. What you probably didn't really think about is your intention. What's your intention? You ever met somebody and you go, man, I don't know about this person. What's their intention as far as their integrity goes? Anybody do? Is it just me that has met somebody like that? Right? What's their intention? Especially if you are a male parent and you got a female daughter that's going to go out with Joey or Tim or Bruce or whatever their name is, and you meet him at the front door with what we used to call the Sicilian bat, and it had a lot of names engraved on it. What's your intentions with my daughter? And again, it's old school stuff, but all right. So let's get up here into the foliage, in the competence area. Yeah, you went ahead of me there. Okay, so I was going to ask about that, but capabilities, part of competence. Would you agree? To your point, experience, you delivering. What are the kind of things, your credentials, if you're in law, what kind of cases you've done, wins, losses, those kind of things, right? Okay. How else will we measure capabilities? If we don't have some kind of a record of that or whatever, is there any other way or device that we would measure somebody's capability if we didn't experience it?
Education.
Education? So all master's degrees are equal? Anybody's got a master's or a PhD? Does that make them, huh?
DePaul stops. I went to DePaul.
Okay, good.
So did you.
Great school. Love it. If it wasn't in the shadow of Northwestern and University of Chicago, I think it would probably be the top school in town, but unfortunately, anyway. What else at the top of the tree? At the top of the foliage here, what would be another competency?
Experience.
I'm sorry?
Experience.
Experience? Okay, what else? Certainly is one of them. That would demonstrate competency to you.
Success.
Okay, well, it's a sister of that, yeah. Hit that again. Results. Would you agree? So basically, we got a trust tree. There's more in here, but these are the big ones, okay, the big cores of this trust tree. So I think you'd agree down here. So what is the strongest tree in North America?
Redwood?
By the way, you know the structure of redwoods are? It's a root system that keeps them alive.
That's right.
So, anybody guess? The mighty oak, right? So, why would that be his strongest tree?
Just guessing, slow growing.
Okay. What else? What's at the bottom of this thing? Roots, deep roots. Oak trees go deep. So in a strong wind, these things ain't going to blow over. They'll bend, but they won't break. What do you think about a palm? Do you think they might? Right? Shallow root system. The red oaks and the oaks, or the redwoods, they're branched by a network of roots that keep them strong and actually feed up each other too. It's really fascinating with the redwoods. So, this is what I call the trust tree, okay? And you can see why, because down here at the roots, integrity is really important. Up here, your intent. What is your intent with your character? Getting up into the foliage, more about your capabilities and your results. So this is kind of a balancing act, right? I believe my wife loves me dearly, thinks that I have great character, but do I have competency to do heart surgery? Or even balance the book sometimes? No, okay. And so you got this balancing act that has to happen with all of us, right? As to weighing and balancing these things, whether it be personally or in business. Okay. So, that's a lot to read, I know it's an eye chart. These are the 13 behaviors building trust. And that's what you have in front of you. We're going to have a little exercise on this, but let me call out a few of these. So we hit again. I've highlighted a couple of these. Talk straight. What does that mean? Talk straight.
Clear, concise communication.
Okay? No BS, no double talk. Did they teach that in law school?
Double talk? No.
Yeah. They did teach a lawyer speak, though, right?
No.
They didn't teach a lawyer speak? Come on.
You learned that.
Yeah, you learned that. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Try to get some straight talk there, right? So, anybody got any thoughts on that? Talking straight? You ever been around somebody you just feel that their sense are evasive? They're talking in circles. It's like, dude, get to the point. You know, I don't understand what you're saying. And it's like I was in a group. Any financial people in here? Anybody in finance? Huh? LIBOR? I'm at one of these things, and then this guy's babbling about. I'm going. I'm probably one of those guys. So I don't care anymore. You know, I don't have to be the brightest guy. I said, excuse me, what the hell is a LIBOR? And you could hear this collective sigh of relief in the room. It's like we were wondering the same thing. Well, he had the guts to say it. And still, the guy gave me a lousy response. I mean, it's like, I still couldn't figure it out after he got done telling me what the heck it was supposed to be, right? No, I guess I'm just not that quick. Okay, what else do we have here? Delivering results, you think that'd be pretty important as far as behaviors? Doing what you say you're going to do, showing up, the commitment, demonstrating it. Go ahead. This one's a big one, guys. This is huge. And when I share with you in building trust and clarifying expectations, I see that as one of the biggest gaps today in business and even personally, is this communication gap. Clarifying expectations up front. It cures a lot of problems and probably going to put the lawyers out of work, you know, especially the litigators, if we had clear expectations up front and set that. And again, that gets back to human stuff, to be able to set that up properly. When I was in the marketing business and had to deal with clients and all that, I really got burnt when I didn't have clear expectations set as to how we're going to work together and making sure that we are on the same playing field, because that client's expectation is up here and you're delivering, or what you're capable of delivering is down here. You got a problem. You got a real problem. And I'm assuming that all of you probably have that problem at one point or another, you know, making sure that it's clear, there's safe expectations. Ooh, that's the big one. As the old expression goes, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them in those proportions. But how much do you think that's happening today? We're all about our self-interest, all about us talking instead of listening. And it's the wise man that listens, you know. It really is. There's a couple axioms. I teach Socratic questioning in our course. The attorneys and the health professionals are the only two that are trained in that. One for good and the other one for evil. And my lawyer friends like me when I say that. The fact of the matter is that Socrates once said, I can't teach a man anything. You can only ask him questions to make him think. When you ask a great Socratic question and shut up and listen, it's amazing what your clients or anybody will tell you. You guys know that in law. If you're doing dispositions and everything like that, depositions. The other thing is, Voltaire even said it better. Not judge a man not by his answers, but by the questions he asks. Listen, this is a big one. Anybody here ever run across somebody that just seems like they're like this? Ain't sharing any information. They want it from you. They want everything they can get from you, but they're not giving anything back. Has anybody ever experienced that? They seem to be wanting to take it in, but they don't want to share anything back.
If you've ever talked to a trading company, it's like that 100% of the time.
I gotta tell you something. I've met a number of people. I'm a big network. I've met people like this, and boy, I'll tell you, they got the neon sign on their forehead. To me, because like this is not a person I want to trust. If you're not willing to have a conversation, open up a little bit and give me something back, and just bombing me with questions and not really wanting to respond to that, I got a little bit of a problem from a trust standpoint with that. So now the moment of truth. You got a nifty little thing in front of you there. That's on those 13 behaviors. And so what I'm going to ask you to do, in your own way, on the left-hand side, these are positive, how you rate yourself positively on that chart. There should be 5 little slots there, and you put an X in each one of those as to where you rate yourself on this current performance. Over here is, I could use some work in this area. Probably could use some work. So what I'd like for you to do is just take a couple minutes, look it over. Not going to ask you to share it if you don't want to, but we will ask if anybody would like to share. Go through those 13, rate yourself. Okay? Did you get one? Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Go ahead.
How are you doing? You can, I mean, that's kind of like your homework you can take with you if you want, or you can go ahead and do that in the back too while you're thinking about it. That's fine. Again, this is all for you guys. It's not for anything from outside of here. But I would like to ask if everybody done with the 13? Everybody done? Okay. So here's my question: is anybody like to share what they are particularly proud of those behaviors that you think you do well?
I'd say listen first.
Listen first?
Yeah.
Okay. Why is that?
I mean, I think that's one thing I do well. I ask questions, especially when I meet a new client.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask questions, take notes on my iPad, and try to show clients that I truly care and want to learn more about their business.
Okay. Yeah. What else? Anybody else?
And conversely to that, I think I get turned off when somebody's trying to sell me and not wanting to learn about my needs and just telling them about their company.
You got
So
it.
that's probably why I'm pretty conscious of that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It drives your behavior as to what you don't want someone
Yeah.
to do, right? It's interesting. Okay, come on, you guys. Somebody's got some good stuff to say about themselves.
I think in my line, one thing I'm proud of is clarifying expectations or managing expectations.
Okay, I saw you brighten up when I said that one.
Because I practice tax controversy law, which is
Okay.
a very, very unique area. And a lot of times people come to me when they're facing issues with IRS and they think I'm a magician. Or one thing that's really challenging to overcome are these fly-by-night places that advertise on the radio or the TV will settle for pennies on the dollar. So one thing I'm good at and that unfortunately clients don't like is managing their expectations. It's important.
Very important. Yeah, because you're not going to get that $2 million settlement.
No.
Let's just get this in reality, and as to what this is really going to be, and the hoops you're going to have to jump through to make it happen. If you get anything, right?
Exactly.
That's excellent. What else? Who else? Joe, you got anything? You something you're proud of?
Well, I think we're, as an organization, we're pretty good at righting our wrongs. So we're in the
Oh.
computer software business.
Yeah.
It's very, if it's wrong, it's wrong. And so and in my business, it's pretty easy to identify it's wrong and we fix it right away.
Now, is that you driving that, you personally, because of your integrity and the way you do business?
I'm in charge, so
Okay.
ultimately it comes down to me, but
Okay.
I have people that are smarter than me to actually do it.
Yeah. But at least you're falling on your sword to the client and
Okay.
saying, yeah, hey, look, we screwed up here. Yeah.
Practice accountability also.
Yeah? That's awesome. Great.
But I don't listen for squat. I am terrible that way. I learned something. But when someone says a problem, I'm like, I can fix that. I don't listen to the rest of it. It's a serious problem I have. I haven't heard a word you said. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, you jumped to that one a little bit quicker than I asked it. I was trying to coax out a little bit more of the positive here before we get to the
Well, no,
negative.
I learned that here. I mean, that's something I have to be a lot better about.
Okay. Anybody else want to share what they're particularly, proud of, or that they think they're good at?
I'd say show loyalty.
Show loyalty.
Mhm.
That's a big one, huh? Yeah. Is that because you want to see loyalty back? Is that why you're strong with it?
Yeah, I'd say so.
You value that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say like as in the lawyer field, to kind of piggyback off what she was saying, I would say kind of create transparency, clarify expectations, and deliver results. I think all go hand in hand. I think when
Sure.
you first start out as a lawyer, like, probably think you can handle whatever, but you learn really quick that every area is very complicated, everything. So you're always careful not to take on more than you can handle, and that allows you to deliver results because you end up only handling things that you know you can handle and you know you can do, and
Okay.
you know what the outcomes are going to be, and so all three of those go hand in hand. So
And that's why you also pass stuff off to other colleagues, right? Because
Right.
it's not your area of expertise.
Right.
You don't feel the competency in it. You want to make sure you do well by this client, and you're going to turn them over to another professional. That's what they
Like you
do.
never fight unless you know you can win, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Okay.
I think lawyers kind of get that, approach that. So.
Okay, so who's going to be brave enough to tell me something that they need a little work on? Joe already did, so.
I mean, by the same token, I would say creating transparency sometimes, like, you know, maybe you know if you relay something to your client as it currently stands, it's not gonna look good, so maybe you'll withhold some stuff, or maybe sugarcoat it a little bit, or maybe try to fix it and change the circumstance before bringing them in and letting them know what, you know, what's going on, stuff like that.
Is total transparency a good thing?
That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Is truth telling a good thing all the time?
Right.
Well, telling the truth, not lying, just don't lie.
Right.
I'm just saying, telling somebody the unvarnished truth. Is that always a good thing?
No.
Do you mean, are there truths you should omit?
No, maybe just don't tell. Don't say.
Right.
You just, you don't make a
Just
comment.
leave it out of the discussion.
Because you're going to end up maybe causing more confusion and worry that, you know, this might sound bad and you're not going to know how to take it because you don't really even understand what I'm saying to you.
You can't handle this, right?
Whatever, so, right.
You can't handle the truth. Yeah.
It seems that when you come into that kind of decision point, that fork in the road, it seems like the kind thing is the right thing.
Okay. Okay. Better way to say it, right? As to, I'm not going to give you the unvarnished truth. I'm going to maybe put a different spin on it. Maybe, and we know about spin, right? Everything can be spun today as to, oh, let's look at it on the other side of this.
Doesn't that affect your straight talk?
Of course it does. Absolutely. Again, you know, as to the situation, like personal situations sometimes, right? You know, men can relate to this when maybe their spouse or their significant other or a partner says to you, well, how do I look at this?
Be honest.
Well, for us guys, that has a real downside. That has a real downside. You know? So, okay. Well, at least you had a little fun here. You learned something today, hopefully. Yeah. That second page is really designed for you when you take something away from this today, is to say, okay, if I recognize these things that are good about me or some things that I need to work on, so you list your 3 strongest behaviors and then you go down and being really honest, brutally honest with you. So what do I need to work on? Okay? Because the point of this whole thing, you walk out of here today and life starts all over again, but if you don't, you know, be a little bit more self-aware as to maybe a couple things here I need to do. You know, most important things. So I'm going to run this real quick, the trust organization. I'm going to run through this real quick and then we're going to end it up. Behaviors of low trust organizations. So I'm going to just let you guys look this over and see if anybody can relate to this. See anything up there that resonates with you? I can guarantee you, any organization that scores in all 12 of these probably isn't going to be in business a real long time. But we have a lot of organizations that are like this, highly dysfunctional. You've got this kind of stuff going on, office politics, not talking straight, a lot of things going on here. Let's take a look at what one that is well run and one that has a lot of high trust. See if you identify with some of this. Is that a company you'd like to work for? More importantly, is that the kind of company you're running or that you're building? A lot of conversation going on about this today. Lots about organizations like this. As to how do you really get to this? It's not easy. Go ahead. So, building trust relationship in summary. You got to show that your interests are the same with whoever you're talking to. Okay? Not to say that you can't have a difference of opinion, it's just to say your interests are aligned. Go ahead. Demonstrate concern for others. And it was much like listening, empathy. We talked about that. That's the biggest concern I have for the millennials, is that factor. I had a woman come up to one of the workshops I was doing. She said, Bob, she said, you know, you're absolutely right, the communication. She said, I had to take every single device away from my teenage son. Everything. He couldn't use any of it until he got on the phone and had a conversation with somebody. It took the kid 30 minutes to work up the courage to get on the phone and talk to a human being.
Oh, amen. I've got teenagers, same thing.
I got a 21-year-old home. The only way that this guy would respond, I got to text him to pick up the phone and talk to me. Now, that's pretty pathetic when you think about it, right? But that's the world that we live in. Now, again, I'm older and I got a whole generational gap in here, and I get it, the expedient and all that, but it's just like,
I couldn't get a guy to call me back to offer him a job.
Wow.
And you know, he's a millennial. I couldn't get, he wasn't, apparently millennials don't listen to voicemails. So his mailbox was full.
Voicemails are going the way of the dodo bird guy. I'll tell you right now, nobody
Well,
listens to
never mind.
voicemails anymore. Yeah, exactly. It's amazing. Okay, demonstrate concern. Number 3, deliver on your promises. Right to your heart, Joe. Can't imagine anybody wanting to do business with somebody who isn't delivering today. But yet, it's amazing. It takes really very little effort to be good at customer service today. Being mediocre really now has set the standard because it's so dismal out there. Would you agree? Is it just me that's running into this nonsense? It's just incredible. It really is. And then I love, the bane of my existence is when you get into the voicemail exchanges, dial 1, dial 6, dial 8, and you can't even talk to another human being. Okay? Now, I just had an experience with that. Are you guys familiar with Nitro Pro? It is a Adobe-esque type of a product. It's a lot less expensive than Adobe. So it can convert, it's PDF reader, and you can convert it to PowerPoint, or you convert it to web or Word or any of the other ones. So it's a hybrid of Adobe, thinner format, and easy to use and all that. Well, I bought a new computer, and I wanted to take and get that put onto my new computer, right? Because guys I bought from, they couldn't convert that over. I had to go back out online and do this whole thing. Do you know that there was absolutely no phone number and no listing of their address to communicate these people? I was like, are you kidding me? How do I do this? You know, I just want a simple thing. If I could get on the phone for a couple minutes, what do I have to do to get this downloaded so I got it functioning and working on my computer? It was amazing. I spent a half a day just trying to get through and figure out how I could do this. I was just livid, you know. They're not going to get another penny in my business. Once that subscription's done, they're done. They are done. Anybody that does that is amazing to me that they did. But a lot of these companies, and they set this up intentionally, find out. It's intentionally done. They don't want you complaining to them or something. Well, guess what? Okay. Now all of you know about Nitro Pro. Be consistent and honest. And again, we get back to these things, you know, dependable, showing up, playing the game right, those kind of things, right? Communicate frequently and openly. That's one thing I give instruction about anybody that provides me a service with, whether it be insurance, attorney, or whatever. You better, if it's bad news, tell me early and often. Okay? I want to see my insurance. I want to be reviewed every 6 months. I've gone through how many insurance companies now because people don't understand what my request is. I want that to be reviewed every 6 months. Things change, and I want to make sure. I want my trust and my wills to be evaluated every year. Things change. I went for 10 years with what I thought was a good will and trust, you know, that I had done, just to find out from a new attorney that none of that would have been, I wouldn't have got what I wanted to. Thank God nothing happened to me in that 10 years. So I learned a very valuable lesson about some of this stuff. And it's amazing still. People don't want to, you know, so who are you going to trust, right? In that case, you know, I'm going through the category of people that, you know, finally I get to that actually take action and do what they say they're going to do. All right. Oh, well, hey, you know, two of our guests here in Illinois. So, gee, that guy left. I think his hair is a little different than that now. Let me click on him. And we'll get rid of him. So, who's this guy here?
Honest Abe.
Honest Abe. Do you know at one time it was reported that he was called Two-Faced? And his response to that was, if I was two-faced, why would I have this one? You can tell that I would not do really well at a comedy store, you know, for any of my humor. You know. It's a little bent. So here's the elements in summary: nature of trust, acting always with honesty, integrity, openness, and communication, keeping your promises, and meeting your obligations, and look to help other people's interests. Would you guys all agree? Okay. All righty, so I have a little something for a giveaway. The first person that can answer this question correctly is going to get a copy. I've got 2 of them, so I'm going to give 2 away. So, who can tell me, and you can look at your sheets, do anything you want to cheat, who can tell me what the 2 core values were on the trust tree?
Integrity,
Confidence.
Oh,
Integrity and intent.
4.
Okay, you got that? All right,
I did have
so
a cheat sheet. I made a cartoon of your cartoon.
you just weren't fast enough. You were fast enough, but the rest of them. Okay, so what should we ask you on this next one? That'd be important. Okay, let's go kind of back to the beginning. We'll just test your memory a little bit here. At the beginning of that slideshow there, right? And we had some quotes in there, statistical information, and that we quoted down there as far as levels of trust, right? You remember that chart? I threw it up there?
Yeah.
Right at the beginning, right? Okay. And then I made a comment about one of those. Who could tell me which one of those I made a comment about?
Only 34% of people actually trust.
There you go. You're taking copious notes. You're saying hell of a memory, one or the other. Okay. This is a book that we authored. It's going to be a quick 111-page read, 2 cups of coffee, you're through it. That basically takes you through 4 decades of how sales was developed in this country, and then launches you into the buying decision model. So it's not a tell-all. It's just to present you a new concept, a new way of looking at that as to how people buy and how you sell them. What a novel concept, huh? Based on a lot of neuroscience and behavioral science. Unfortunately, I just lost my partner back on March the 8th to cancer. So he is now deceased, and I had a hand in writing it, but I'll give all the attribution to him. He did the heavy lifting with doing the book publishing and everything like that. So hopefully you guys got something out of this today. We do have one last slide in here that I'll let you know about. And again, if you want a copy of this, we can get it out to you. And that's some books that I recommend. I talked about Stephen Covey, book, The Speed of Trust. Phenomenal book. Got lots of case in there, a lot of examples. It goes a lot more in depth than what this presentation did today. The new elevator pitch by Chris Westfall. It's really interesting. It's a new way of looking at how you do it. By the way, who knows what the genesis of an elevator pitch was? The name. Where that came from? Anybody?
A very short window, like when you're riding an elevator or something.
Okay.
Is that what you're...
Yeah, so it was in the 20s out in Hollywood, where the guys had to pitch their scripts, and then buildings were low-rise. There weren't a lot of high-rises at the time, and that's exactly the amount of time they had to pitch a director or a producer or somebody like that on their script or their show.
They got elevators that were slow back then.
Yeah, right, exactly, a little slower. And then last but not least is again, to the Socratic question, which is annoying, but it really gets to the point that Mark made, is so what? So what? And that's about you asking yourself the question, so what? So what? So what? As to why somebody's going to do business with you. So what? So what? So what? What's that mean? Okay? So when we're in our headsets thinking about our stuff, so what? What's it really mean to somebody sitting across the table from you? Okay? So I think, are we done? Yeah? Lessons learned. Okay, good. Lessons learned from anybody? What'd you learn today? I didn't get to meet this gentleman. What'd you learn out of this?
I'm pretty confident in a lot of things on the trust side.
Okay, that's good. Are you right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, would you like to say another one?
Very much.
Okay, good. How about you? Would you
Just a lot of things that probably I knew on a subconscious level, but now kind of bringing them to the forefront and making it more in front of my mind when dealing with people, judging other people.
Okay, how about you?
Pretty much the same. You know these things are all important, but making sure that I just demonstrate and cognizant of it on a day-to-day basis, especially dealing with clients.
Yeah.
I believe I met Bob Lamper, who's an expert in trust.
Those by no means by an expert in trust. I have to constantly remind myself of this stuff, you know. So, go ahead.
Seriously.
Yeah. How about you?
Just crystallizing weaknesses. Knowing exactly what it is that I'm focusing on.
Okay.
All the variety of behaviors to make up trust.
Yeah, until you get this right, you're like, oh man, I didn't realize there was this kind of much stuff in here.
I think for me, it's when I'm thinking about my sales presentations, I need to put more effort into the intent.
Oh.
You know, and I think that comes from my lack of listening.
Okay. Good.
I think, yeah, how many aspects there are to trust. I mean, it's really a diverse idea, and how it applies to everything. It's not just our business or
Oh,
our
yeah.
sales, but our everyday life,
Oh,
our
yeah.
everyday interactions,
It's huge.
everything. I mean,
Yeah.
really every aspect.
Yeah, you don't really think about it constantly, do you? It's really kind of a, like you said, subconscious thing. Yeah, I knew about some of these things. I feel these kind of things, but I didn't know. How about you? What did you get out of this? Since you invited me, it better be good.
I think the tree was just an excellent visual for me
Okay.
to refer back to. To be honest with you. I mean, outside of pretty much everything else that I need to work on.
Now, Chris and I are working on an opportunity to maybe do some workshops, voluntarily workshops for Amada, and with some of the material that we've developed in business development and management and that kind of stuff. So we don't know where that's going to go just yet, but I'm excited about that opportunity because we got some great people sitting in all of these facilities and that kind of thing. So I just want to let you know that maybe on the dawning here, we're going to try to see if we might be able to launch into having that. It'll be voluntary. It's not going to be free. You got to put a little skin in the game. That way I know that I've got your attention that you come in. But it wouldn't be what our normal charges would be because I want to make people in Amada and the people that come here collectively, you know, as successful as they possibly can be. And if I can be a contributor to that, I want to be able to contribute to it. So one of the initiatives that I have called Legacy Reentry, I'm working with a gentleman that created that up in Lake County, and it's really about reentry prisoners and former incarcerated people coming back into society. And a lot of them have a lot of entrepreneurial, you know, bent to them, only it was for the wrong reasons. And so we are now working with folks up there to do business development and use some of their innate abilities that they have to convert that into entrepreneurialism, small businesses, because as you know, if they check the box, oftentimes they're ruled out for even getting a job. And I've got a real heart for, I don't know if any of you guys know, but you know, less than 2.5 decades ago, there were only about 250,000 incarcerated people in this country. Today it's 2.7 million.
So there's a new Netflix special on that exact topic.
Yeah, and a lot of these people didn't do anything serious. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
it's just amazing. So it is I believe, is a talent pool that we have in this country that is underutilized. It's terrible what's being done. But hopefully, in a small way, we're contributing to try to help some of those folks out. So just want to let you know about that initiative, and I know you guys are all socially responsible, so we're trying to do what we can. All right? You're dismissed.
Thank you.
There you go. Good, very much.
Thanks for the book.
You bet.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I am. Simona's,
Thanks for
Simona's the
being
best.
patient.
It's okay. How do we do? Thank you. Which building are you at?
180 North.
It is, it is.
Okay, you have a card?
I do.
Sometimes we run across people that need good lawyering. Do you have a card?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. I forgot to tell you to change your card. So I'll give you a
I'm
card.
so happy we were able to make it because he's going to be working on my, thank you so much, my executive headshots.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, we'll
You got a great
finalize
thing to work with here, buddy. She's beautiful.
Thank you
That's
so
great.
much. Yeah, finalizing the website, so I'm really excited.
Good.
So I'm curious, with this, you're going to be working with privately owned prisons, or you're getting a state?
Well, right now it's Lake County Jail, and then a couple, a circle of people up in Lake County is where I'm doing it right now for George Moore, the guy that founded it. He's a former felon, and just a big teddy bear of a guy, and he's got a real heart for, you know, he actually is a minister now. He came to the Lord in jail, and then became a minister, pastor, and so he's taking a step in it up now. So it's a not-for-profit foundation in his form, and there's a lot of people coming around.
Oh, so you're doing it through his foundation?
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I put on the, you know, and he charges for that, and then all the proceeds go to the foundation. So it's just my way of trying to support, you know, this pool of people that really need support and help, you know, to become productive, as he calls it, reentry citizens, and I love that term. You know.
This is important.
Yeah.
Thank you for my
Great.
book, too.
You bet, you bet. You're bucking a book. How about that deal, huh?
Thank you.
You
Yes.
bet. Take care.
Thanks very much. Good job.
Okay. How do we do? You're on time?
We did well, and we are actually
We did a little bit.
finished.